No, that's the address for the car. It's at the gas station there.
Why is it at a gas station?
The C2C Express is a Cannonball Run style tribute race, similar to the other underground race, the 2904, organized by John Ficarra. The cars have a $3,000 budget, and they need to be Cannonball Run era specific, so somewhere in the 70s or 80s. The C2C typically started at the same location as the Cannonball Run, the Red Ball Garage in Manhattan, and it ended at the Portofino Inn in Redondo Beach, California. But in 2019, it started at the 1979 location, the Goodwife Shopping Center in Darien, Connecticut. 47 teams registered, 36 made it, and with the risk of injury, arrest, and society just thinking you've lost it, the obvious question is, why are people doing this?
I don't know. For me personally, I like to drive fast, and it's kind of like the ultimate challenge in compressing time and space.
I think your phrase, the fraternity of lunatics, sums it up quite well. I think you've got like-minded people getting together to do something that most people think's impossible or very hard or stupid or reckless or illegal.
It brings something out of you, and it satisfies something in you that you never even knew needed to be itched, and it transforms who you are as a car enthusiast.
You can turn laps at the local dirt track, be the quarterback on your high school football team, catch a big trophy buck. Somebody's going to yawn about it. Everybody I've told about this and what I've done, everybody says, that is awesome.
I've always been interested in cars, but mainly just as like a teenager, interested in expensive cars, Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and that kind of stuff. Memorizing 0 to 60 times, really useful information to have. And so through that interest, I think I was exposed to the Gumball 3000, and then finding out that there was a 70s movie with Burt Reynolds and the Rat Pack and the rest, that really lit my interest even more. I liked how there was like this added humor to it that made it almost, redeemable. And when Ed Bolian broke the Cannonball Run record, it really came back on my radar. And I actually reached out to Ed, and that's when we met in 2013. In 2019, he calls me up and is like, hey, we're putting together one last run. The C2C is going to have one last final race. I think you should come along and experience a little bit, film a little bit, and we'll see what we can kind of make out of it. So I kind of leapt at the opportunity and booked my flight up to New York, not really sure which car I was going to run in or if I was going to drive or what I was exactly going to do, but I wanted to learn more about this community. And when I first get there, I think I get to the hotel and I immediately meet the race organizer, Ben Charlie Safari Wilson.
I was born in Tredegar, South Wales. It's a little town in the Welsh Valleys, and it's a little coal and steel town. So when I was a kid, I was completely car obsessed. I was completely domestic American car obsessed. Not like Ferraris on the walls, but like taxis and cop cars and Caprices and things like that. I picked up a copy of, I think it was May 75 Car and Driver, and it was the one with the scofflaws and the Porsches on the cover, saying that these men are wanted for breaking the most stupid law since Prohibition. And I picked it up and I started reading it. I thought, man, this is amazing. Like, all these people get together and they race cars across the whole country, not just around the track, but around the whole country. And it's just average Joes. There's vans and there's Porsches and there's kind of Mercedes and Volvos and everything, anything that anybody would think they could run, they ran. That's it. There's only one thing I want to do in this world, and that's race a car across America.
I really found Ben and his wife to be the heart and soul of this community, this family. And without them, I think that the race really would have been missing that X factor that really made it feel like a 1970s event.
Would you like to do a Cannonball Run? And everybody said yes. There was not anybody that went, no. It just seemed to make so much sense that we had to do it. And then, of course, I talked to some people. I can't say who they are because I just can't. And they directed me to the 2904. And I was like, wow, same idea as me, $3,000, but theirs was across country. And we just wanted to make ours a little bit more 70s correct. We put a $3,000 maximum limit in there because it allowed car guys to have a go. So if you're a car guy, you could spend $3,000 on a Chevelle or a Trans Am or something and then modify it to your heart's content. But what you couldn't do was go out and buy one that was already modified. Can I enter a Lamborghini? And we'd be like, of course you can enter a Lamborghini. Basically because we wanted to see it run, and we all know absolutely it won't make it through New Jersey. It'll be swallowed in a pothole, it'll smash the sump off it. You know, even fake Lamborghinis get time, like real trouble making it. Apparently, so we hear.
The other thing I realized was that these guys don't get together all that often. They, mostly communicate on Facebook group chats and, secret groups there.
These people are out there. It's just, if you don't know they're out there, you don't know to look for them. And it's secretive, it's private, it's not public. They're on Facebook, but it's a secret group. They have meetings, but if you're not invited, you don't know about them, things like that. And there's a whole group of people all around the world, actually, that are into this fraternity of high-speed driving.
Everybody was staying in Stamford at the local Marriott there. There was a top floor of the parking deck where everybody lined up, and it was just sort of like a makeshift garage in a lot of ways. Guys were working on their cars, I think, up until the minute they left. I mean, a lot of them were. The day before we left, we lined up all the cars outside the Marriott, and you really got to see, all the different types of cars that guys brought to this, and really how ingenious a lot of them are in making and putting together a car.
The car is actually a Miami Vice TV show car from the early 80s. I got the car in Florida on May 18th, and it was just a shell under a tree. And I brought it back to Maine, which is where I'm from, and I put 2001 Cobra powertrain in the car. It's got independent rear suspension, Cobra 4 can engine. The tank is 53 gallons in the back with the factory tank, which is 17. So we have 70 gallons of fuel capacity. Jammers front, jammers rear. Really, other than that, it's just a wolf in sheep's clothing.
So while everybody else pretty much had their car, Ed was supposed to ride in a replica ambulance like from the Cannonball Run movie. But with too many mechanical bugs, it just was never going to make it to Connecticut, let alone make it out of Connecticut all the way to California. So we hit Auto Tempest, Facebook Marketplace, any of the car trading sites, because we needed to find another car.
Where in Stamford are you? Do you know where the Marriott is?
Yeah, I'm usually like 5 minutes from there. I'm right down Harvard Point, 780 Pacific Street.
Okay. And the car is fairly close to that, or?
No, that's the address for the car. It's at the gas station there.
Why is it at a gas station?
Because that's where I work.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Help me think through
Yeah.
this. So the options are a 92 Lexus owned by Granddad, given it to this kid to make a little walking around money.
Mm-hmm.
He drives a truck from a gas station for deliveries. Option 2 is a 2005 E500 wagon Mercedes, which is a great motor, a ton of room, the highest quality driving experience we could expect. So the Lexus is probably going to be $1,600. The E-Wagon's probably going to be $2,500, but it's very outside the spirit of what we're doing. So
Right.
we kind of need to do something wacky to it if we're going to find a way to, make it make sense.
Right.
Option 3 is a 2003 CLK55. So we used the CL55. This one's also granite gray, an ultra rare Mercedes color, same color as my car, but it has a power steering problem that he says is manageable, and we could just keep dumping fluid into it the whole way across. But the seat is stuck halfway, so I don't know if I can fit.
I don't know if you could drive that. So we ended up going with the Lexus LS400 1992. It was a fantastic car. That was the first time I had ever ridden in the Lexus LS400. Really comfortable, had good power. The suspension on it at the time, it was a little floaty at times, but generally a really great car. Our third driver, Matthew Davis, he plays Captain Chaos, dresses up as Captain Chaos from the movie. And so he actually purchased the car. He bought it for $1,500. New tires, new wiper blades, changed the fluids. and it was ready to go. We didn't do too much to it. I mean, we bought it literally less than 12 hours before we drove out of town. So at 6 p.m., we all meet for a driver's meeting at the Good Wife Shopping Center, and we watch Ben Charlie Safari Wilson get up on top of a trash can, dumpster, like legend calls for, and deliver a rousing speech.
Welcome to the 5th and final run of the C2C, the automotive equivalent of the AT. If you can find this and if you can get an invite, maybe you too could be here. So, we're all about to do the run, see the shining sea. You've always heard about it, you've always wanted to do it. Now's your last chance. Just don't slip your
So at this point, the reality of the situation that we're about to get in the car for, 30 plus, 40 plus hours, potentially break down on the side of the road, get pulled over by a cop and get arrested and put in some county jail. I mean, all these things are going through my mind, at least, of real possibilities of happening.
I never wanted to put more people across the country than Yates or Doherty. I just wanted to do it. I just wanted people to have a chance to do it and to experience it like it was in the 70s. And this is pretty close. When you pick up a car from this era, it's you're really close to running it the same as the Cannonball book. You can read the book and you will know what it feels like to do it. When the guys were racing the Trans Am in '79 and then all of a sudden they saw the XJS just go poof past them. They were doing 130 miles an hour and they thought, wow, we're really motoring, man, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden Yarborough just goes past like it was stood still. Like, oh.
Ed took the first stint driving out of Darien. I think he tried to pull away from me even getting in the car to start. He was, that keyed up and ready to start driving. I think he turned around to me and was like, you know this is a race, right? Like, we're trying to get there fast. I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you, Ed. I'm trying to get in the back seat here. And even in New York at 1 a.m., it's going to be, kind of congested. So the initial part of this drive was not necessarily the most relaxing time, especially you start hearing all the radars going off, all the countermeasures are lit up, and you're just sort of all senses going, focused on driving.
But it's like at midway, some point in time when doing a Cannonball, it should be miserable. You should feel it. It should be like, my God, please can I just make this like another 10 miles or another 20 miles? You'll shout at your passengers, you'll hate the car, but then all of a sudden it becomes clear. And it's like, wow, we've just done this. We're actually going to make it. It's going to make it, this piece of junk is going to make it to the other end. It's in sight. You can feel that moment where all of a sudden you're over the hump. And it's coming, you're going to make it. And when you get there, you're going to get there with everybody else and you're going to go, wow, what a great time I've just had. And
then you get into Texas and Oklahoma and New Mexico, and it is just, you can drive as fast as you want for as far as the eye can see, and you don't feel like you make any distance. I mean, you could be sitting there at 110 miles an hour and you feel like you're driving 10 miles an hour. You're not going anywhere. The absolute best part of the trip for me was arriving in California. Ed surprises us with a police escort to take us into the Portofino Inn.
Our man. Here we go.
Here we go, baby.
Come on, baby.
It's such a funny juxtaposition of driving across the country, looking for the cops, trying not to get stopped by the cops, arrested by the cops, to now pulling off of a freeway and looking for the cop on the side of the road to flash my lights at so he can come out in front of me, turn on his lights, and take us through stop signs, stop lights, put on his siren and take us through. I mean, people looking at us must be like, what the hell is going on with this car?
It's one of the coolest things I've ever done. All right, just stay on it. There we go. Oh my goodness. Get out of our way. We got to get to the Portofino.
These people are wondering, what is a Lexus getting an escort from a police cruiser?
Especially a 92 Lexus.
Yeah.
after this whole trip across the country, the brakes were a little slow to come back. The car was as floaty as it could have been driving in. I could barely get close to the cop in front of me. I was going to rear end him.
Oh, we're going right through it. We're going to work around him. Yep. Clear it and go. Is this what you thought you signed up for?
I have no idea, man. I'm so glad I came. And getting to the Portofino and seeing the crowd sort of waiting for us and cheering us on as we arrive, it was just such a fun experience, such a life-changing experience in some ways. Fred Ashmore, his brother Art, and co-driver Travis Hilton won the 2019 C2C Express with a time of 31 hours and 47 minutes. The race ended with no accidents, no injuries, a few tickets, a legendary race party. And as my good friend Ed always says, when it comes to Cannonball, you don't need a good time to have a good time.
If you're looking to set out on a Cannonball of your own, the first thing you've got to do is find the right car. And the best way to do that is with Autotempest.com. Autotempest allows you to search all major marketing websites and find exactly the right car you're looking for. But once you have that car, you're going to hit a lot of bugs and all sorts of other things. And if you want it to look shiny the whole way through, be sure to add some Avalon King ceramic coating. It works to harden your paint, protect the finish, and everything else just slides right off. So it's the perfect thing to prepare you and your vehicle for all the grueling use ahead. But part of that grueling use will probably involve some encounters with law enforcement, so be sure to go ahead and download the Ticket Clinic app. They're a nationwide law firm that can fight tickets anywhere in the US. So save their number and be sure to call them if you do happen to get stopped and have an unfavorable outcome with some law enforcement officers. Of course, we also like to support the Cannonball Memorial Run and the Brock Yates Memorial Fund, so you'll see links in the description below to donate there.